Okay, I'm hoping that someone else will hop on because I have no idea whether I have video or not. So, I mean, I know I've got video and it looks like I have audio, but I can't tell. So I'm just going to, it's 4:33. I'm going to go ahead and get started. You are going to see my, I don't know how to close this. Maybe I can do this. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, you're going to be seeing my book because I have the digital version on Kindle. I am hopefully recording this. I'm not sure at this moment. Oh, by the way, I'm probably kind of dark, so let me turn this on. Oh, got to get my light plugged in. Y'all, I just walked in the door from lunch and a petty, and so I'm really just trying to get my act together here. Hold on just a minute. Okay. At least I can get my light on now, I think. Okay. Ooh, that's kind of bright. Okay, we're going to go with that lighting. So we are in chapter, another glitch. Chapter 5 of, hey, who just jumped on? I can't see you. Hello?
Hi, Vicki, it's Heather.
Hey, Heather, can you hear me?
I can't.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So I don't have, there's no sound?
I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, great. All right, then. We're going to go ahead and get started. I just could not tell if I have audio or not since nobody else was on. So it's 4:35. No one else, I don't think, has hopped on, but I am recording. So it's going to be kind of me getting set up. I was just saying that I just walked in the door from lunch and a petty, so I had kind of to get myself set up. So I just want to say that
Can I ask you really quickly? It's on the screen. It's a PDF of the book.
it is my Kindle version because that's where all my notes are.
Oh,
So that's
fabulous.
Yeah, well, I didn't know if I could do it split screen or not, but I think it's working out. So you're just going to see all my highlights because that's the way it worked out. So anyway, I just walked in the door from lunch and a petty. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I absolutely love this book. It is my favorite network marketing book ever. I am, from this point on, going to give this to all of my new ambassadors. In the past, I have given GoPro and Rock Your Network Marketing Business, but this is by far my favorite because for me anyway, I am in so much agreement with everything that she says, and I'm so comfortable with the way that she approaches this. So we're going to act like there's somebody else on here, Heather, and I'm just going to say, so she talks about the fact that if you're not willing to talk to people, this may not be the best business for you if you just don't like talking to people. But if it's just that you're unsure of what to say to people, then that can be fixed. And that's what she helps us to do. So when she started out, she said, like I did, that she talked too much, she asked too few questions, she listened too little, and she spewed off way too many facts. And I think that that's a problem that's pretty much kind of common to everybody. And Heather, jump in here anytime you have something that you'd like to add what, you know, stood out to me. So she is great in giving basically 7 rules for working your network marketing business. And I honestly believe that anybody that follows these 7 rules will just get the foundation of this down, and it won't be intimidating. So the first rule, and we've heard it before, but she just reinforces that, is don't be attached to the outcome of any one conversation. And that's why you need to be having multiple conversations, as many conversations as you can going on at the same time, because you are going to hear no's. It's a numbers game. And we've heard it said before that if you contact 10 people, there might be 3 or 4 that will actually respond to you. And out of those 3 or 4, you may get one ambassador or customer. And so it's a numbers game. The more people you talk to and the more conversations you have going on, the more your funnel that we talk about is going to be full, and it's going to move your business forward. But if you allow no's to disappoint you, it's going to slow you down. If you allow maybes to give you false hope, then it's going to slow you down. And I know that when I started and when I have teammates, they'll, message me and say, oh, I think so-and-so's going to, sign up. And they don't. And that happens. They may sign up later, but just don't depend on that false hope. The second rule she gave was don't be on the hunt. And we talk about being farmers and not hunters. And Heather, you and I talked about this from Bob Heilig not too long ago. If you are looking for success and not significance, or success and not impact every single day, then you really don't understand yet what being a legacy leader is, what helping people rather than helping yourself is all about. So when you start out your day, have the intention of, I have something special to share, and I'm looking for people who want to have what I have to offer. And that's what makes us share people and not salespeople. If we're curious about other people's lives, hopes, and desires, and are genuinely interested in giving information, giving solutions, and seeing if it's a good fit, and giving mentoring, those are the things that we need to be curious about in other people's lives. And if somebody doesn't want it, then you're not disappointed about it, because you weren't after anything in the first place. You don't get disappointed by what you're not chasing, okay? So rule number 3 is less is more. And we've heard this before. Don't vomit plexus on people. The less you say, the better. And I like what she says about it's like dating. When you start seeing someone, you don't want to show too much skin right away. You don't want to be a slut. It's the same when we have conversations about our business. You don't want to be a prospecting slut. So don't fall into that trap of thinking that you just got to tell everybody everything you know in your first conversation. You just are going to overwhelm them, or you're going to bore them, or worse. So just think about curiosity. And again, we talk about that curiosity marketing, but just giving them enough with each contact to increase their curiosity. Rule number 4 is being authentic, and that's being you. Maybe it was Ashley McAvoy last week talked about being you, the messy you, the real you, the authentic you. Don't try to be somebody else, because it's never going to come off as genuine. We have these incredible leaders in our team, in our company. And the one thing that you'll notice about each one of them is that their own personality comes out. They don't try to be or sound like somebody else. Rule number 5, and this, Jim Rohn actually coined this phrase, I think, but it's, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And I will say that from the beginning, this has been my biggest hang up, is that, you've always heard that expression, you only get one chance, a first chance to make a good impression. And that really held me back. It was like, okay, I don't want to say the wrong thing, because I'm not going to get another chance. So I have to make this perfect. And she quotes Tony Robbins as saying, perfection is the absolute lowest standard you can have for yourself, because it's impossible to attain. You're never going to be perfect at it. So just do it. She says that while you're running around in circles in your head, oh, can I identify with that? Someone else will reach out to the people on your list and they're going to get them as the customers or the business partners. So if someone is looking for what you have to offer, it's the right time for them, they'll bite. And I really thought about fishing. I don't know if any of you fish, but when you're fishing, you can go out at the wrong time of day and you can throw out bait and you're not going to catch anything because it's not the right time for the fish. And you can be using bait that everybody else is using or that, you used 2 weeks before. But if it's not when they're hungry, it's not when they're looking for what you're throwing out there, they're not going to bite. But if it's the right time and you use it the right way, then you're going to get fish. Rule number 6 is if you find yourself convincing, stop it. Avoid getting into the convincing mode because it's unproductive and it's a total turnoff. And she says that when she sees someone say, I need to convince somebody, that she knows that they're not looking at this right. So how do you know if you're in convincing mode? If it feels like you're trying to drag your prospect to a purchase or an enrollment, then you're in convincing mode and it won't end well. So just don't do that. Number 7, listen, really listen. We all know, we've heard, we have one mouth and 2 ears because God intended for us to listen. But I think that this is just so important because until you know what their pain point or what they need a solution for is, you really don't know whether this is a good business for them, whether it's a good fit for them. And you don't want just everybody on your team. So many of us have white lines because of this very thing, that we didn't really listen. Maybe we did drag them. Maybe we did convince them, but it just wasn't the right fit or it wasn't the right time. So you can only learn about who they are and what they want and what they fear when you give them the room to talk. So shut your own mouth and listen. Rule 8, work from appointment to appointment. So this is, I wish that I had known this when I first started. If you feel like you're chasing your prospects once you started a conversation with them, she says there's always only one cause, and that's because you're not, before you get off the phone or your messenger or whatever, with your current conversation with them, you need to have the next conversation already scheduled. And sometimes that feels like it's pushy, like you're rushing them or something like that. But being professional is never pushy. Your time is valuable and so is your prospects. So as soon as a prospect enters your funnel, work from appointment to appointment, and usually no more than 24 to 48 hours apart, as you're going to guide them through the process of deciding if she'll fit into your business now, whether it's as a team member or a customer, or just to give you referrals. So setting that next appointment during your current touch point will make for a much more efficient and enjoyable process, excuse me, for both you and your prospects. And I was thinking about a question that I asked Bob Heilig, because we all know the sales stats that say it takes on average 5 to 12 contacts for someone to say yes. And yet he's talked about, doing one follow-up and say, hey, did you get my message? Maybe doing a second follow-up and then not following up, for like a month or maybe even 6 months. So when I asked him about those sales stats, he said that he thought of that in terms of the number of contacts that you have with a sense of urgency to move them through that decision-making process, okay? So I think he's basically saying the same thing, that you want to get as many contacts as you can within a 24 to 48 hour time frame, so that so that you don't lose them, so that you are having effective follow-up. Rule number 9 is don't count your chickens. And we kind of talked about this already, but it's very easy, and especially when we're working towards convention credits or leaders retreat or something like that, to just say, oh man, I've got that one. I've got that one. And if you've read the book, Go for No, I think you'll identify with this, because the character in Go for No was a salesman who was like hitting his quotas. They might be a low quota, but as soon as he hit those, he would just kind of quit, because he was counting his chickens. But if he had just continued to work, then it was amazing what the outcome was. So don't count your chickens. If you prematurely count the chicken, then you're going to slow down your prospecting. Rule number 10 is to lead with the business and default with the product. And I know, Heather, you said that, when you started out, you always led with the product. So did I, because I was comfortable with it. But she makes the point that if someone is not interested in trying your products or service, how the hell can you then say to them, so you're not interested in what our company sells, but you should take a look at starting the business that revolves around the very thing you're not interested in. You just can't do it. So there's never anything to lose by leading with the business. Rule number 11 was don't leave rambling voicemails. And again, that's like, less is more. When you get voicemails back and you're reaching out to people, you may not always make the contact. And so I love the script that she gives there. Hey, Jane, it's Romy. Sorry I missed you, but I'd love to pick your brain about something. I'm available to chat tonight at XX or tomorrow morning at XX. Give me a call. If I don't hear back from you, I'll give you a jingle tomorrow. Thanks, talk soon. And that's it. It's so, so simple to just follow that script. Rule 12 is lead with what's in it for them. Many people start out having conversations with prospects by launching right into what you're doing with your company and giving facts and figures and why the company's great and why it's better than another company and all of that type of thing. But remember that stories sell and facts tell, and that people connect with us emotionally. Bob Heilig has trained us that people don't join companies, they join people. And that's why it's so important to have your own personal story. And again, it's about listening and finding out what is the best thing for them, and how when you're reaching out to them, you start connecting the dots between what you have to offer and what it can do for them. So when you start leading your conversation with what's in it for them and how people just like them are building a business like it, then you're going to have a lot more success. So then she goes on to talk about how to reach out to someone. I figure out a person's pain points and how our business can reduce or eliminate their pain. And it's that simple. So, but you have to know something about them. So she gives this great exercise where you take a piece of paper and you draw a line down the middle, making 2 columns. And on the top of the left-hand column, you write pain. And on the right, you write no pain. And then you just think about all the possible pain points in that person's life and how our business could provide relief. And so from there, you're able to craft what your talking points are going to be when you first start to talk to them. So let's say you want to reach out to your friend who's a stay-at-home mom who used to be a high-powered corporate chick. Maybe she's mentioned her pain points to you. She misses grown-up time and that her head is turning to mush. And she hates having to ask her husband for money before she spends money on herself. Or maybe the family finances are really tight and she feels like she's just lost a part of herself when she lost her career. So I don't think that this is the very next slide, but we'll get to it. So hold that thought. Okay, and if you're in the book, sorry, I've got things popping up. You're going to see these 12 or these 14 reach out rules. And really and truly, I would print those out or, copy them or something and post them where you see them all the time. Those 14 rules that really, summarize it up, all of it up. Okay. So if you're reaching out to that friend, her sample script is, "Hey, Jane, it's Romy. You've been on my mind a lot lately. Do you have a few minutes for me to pick your brain about something? I need about 5 minutes. Is that a good time?" And if she says it's not a good time, then again, you work from appointment to appointment. You book that time right then. You say, "No problem. Let's work around your schedule. I'll give you a shout tonight." Which works better, 8 or 9? And notice that in all of these scripts, she always gives them a choice of 2 different times. She doesn't just say, "Well, what's going to be a good time for you?" You want to present yourself as a professional and that you're busy, not sitting there waiting for what's a good time for her. So, present it in that way. If I call to get a nail appointment, they're going to say, "Do you want to come in at this time or do you want to come in at that time?" Same thing at my doctor's office. So, be a professional, okay? But if she says, "Yeah, what's up?" Your response, thinking about what's in her best interest. "I've been thinking about you a lot because I remember us talking about how you love being there for the kids, but you really miss having something of your own for your sanity, your identity, and your bank account. I thought of you because I'm now working with so many women just like you who are spending part-time hours every week building lucrative businesses of their own, all while they're still being hands-on moms with flexible schedules. They're able to pay for their kids' activities, fill college and vacation funds, and even in some cases replace income from big old corporate careers just like the one you have. I have no idea if this would be a good fit for you, but it might be a way for you to have your cake and eat it too. I'd love to tell you what I'm up to." So you see that was all about her. It was about why, it was addressing her pain points and how this could help them. Okay. So from there, you just continue with some introductory message points, whatever you use, whether it's a video or whatever, that about the company. And then that's when you're going to give your own story, your personal story, and some of the, key things about the business. So you're going to say, "So Jane, are you intrigued enough to want to learn more and see if this might be a good fit for you?" You're asking them to make a decision. So notice that the posture and the language made it clear that you're not attached to the outcome. Whatever she decides is great, whether she says yes or no. You're just sharing and you're helping her to figure out if this would be a good fit for her. So another example might be somebody that's a high-powered lawyer and a mom who is just like running on the hamster wheel. And you've seen her rushing to birthday parties or sporting events. She gets there late, she's tired and she's worn out. And you may not know her very well because you're just acquaintances, but you can make an educated guess about what her pain is. She wants more flexibility. She's exhausted. She might spend time thinking about how she could escape from the corporate grind, but can't figure out how to do it. So I think this slide is what shows this is the pain and no pain format for the stay-at-home mom. Mrs. Making her own money, Mrs. Time with grown-ups, Mrs. Identity. Her no pain is bringing in an income, social, collaborative business, can have it all, hands-on mom. So the conversation opener with the lawyer who's rushing everywhere might be, "Dana, I see what you do. You're a superwoman with your big job and your kids. I wanted to tell you about my business because I work with so many other moms like you who are juggling kids and they're demanding jobs. They're building a side business that's growing big enough to give them more choices, including being able to leave the corporate grind. I'd love to tell you what I'm up to, even if it's not for you. I have a feeling that you're going to know someone that I could help." So very simply, very organically, she works that ask for the referral into the comments. So you can do it for anybody that you want to reach out to, nurses, teachers, real estate people, you name it. But if it's somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time or you don't know really well, the best thing that you can do is go to their Facebook page and look at their posts. That's going to give you a wealth of information. And she gives the example of how she helped a team member kind of be a private eye on a potential's page. She wanted to reach out to a sorority sister, but she hadn't talked to her in a really long time, and she didn't know what to ask her. So they went to, the only thing that she knew was that she had a really successful career and that she always had the best personality and was a real go-getter. So they went to her Facebook post, and as they scrolled through the wall, they could tell that she liked to travel and that she liked the nicer things in life and like killer shoes and gorgeous jewelry. And they learned that she had a kid old enough that would probably be going to college in a few years. And so while they didn't know exactly what her pain points were, they were able to create a list just from the Facebook. So y'all do your background work. You know, I made a post yesterday on the page about a girl that had reached out to me, and I felt really sorry for her. But you know, so much can be avoided if you just take the time to learn about who you're wanting to talk to. So I won't go through this, but here's another example of the pain and no pain work that you need to put together before you ever reach out to somebody. So with this person, with what they'd been able to figure out from Facebook, here was the script. Lynn, I haven't talked to you in ages, but I love keeping up with you through your posts. I'm thrilled to see that life has been so good to you. I'd love to pick your brain for my business because I have a feeling you might know some people in your town that I could help. I work with lots of women who love earning extra money for travel funds, shameless shoe funds, or even to pay for college. I know your son will be there real soon, and you might even want to learn more yourself. You might. I'd love to set up a time to chat for 10 minutes. Well, make it 20 so we can really catch up. But I'm available tomorrow night at 8 or 8:30 or Thursday at noon. Tell me which one works best and the best number to reach you. So, y'all, I can do that, and you can do that. That is so easy to do. And it's so natural, even if you haven't talked to somebody in, 20 years or whatever. So even if they decide not to, go ahead or join you or whatever, you've still already asked for a referral, and that can be huge. So she gives another example of how she reached out to her friend, Shelly. Shelly, I know we haven't talked live in ages, but I've been thinking about you a lot lately since I'm working with people who remind me of you. It's all about her. I'd love to pick your brain for my business. You've always been someone who's so driven and get things done, and you have a magnetic personality. These are the things I look for in my business. I have no idea if what I do will be a good fit for you, but if it is, you're going to have a heck of a lot of fun spending part-time hours building something pretty substantial. And if not, I have a feeling you'll know some other go-getters who might be a good fit. When can you hop on the phone for 5 or 10 minutes so I can fill you in? Asking her what works for her, but then being a professional and saying, I'm free tonight after 8 or tomorrow at noon. And in this case, her friend responded and said, yeah, she really did want to learn more. Remember that if you can't figure out someone's pain, all you have to do is go on their profession or that they're a mother or a woman and not worry about it. You can always say, I know so many people just like you who have been successful doing what I do. So I thought you want to take a look and decide if this might be a fit for you. Since I have no doubt that there are people that you know that are just like you. And that's a very authentic statement always. So the next slide is, get into action and do one of these little charts for everybody that you're going to reach out to. beginning to wrap up chapter 5, rule number 13, it's a no. If it's a no to the business, then ask for referrals. Y'all, I have to say, I've never asked for a referral. Sorry, I'm guilty. So if they say no, I am totally comfortable with doing this. I totally get that this isn't for you, Maggie. It's not for everyone, but I'd love to pick your brain about your network since I have a feeling you're likely to know some people I could help. Do you have a couple of more minutes so I can describe exactly who I'm looking for and we'll see whose names pop in your head? So 2 things to note. 1, you ask for permission to continue. And number 2, you've planted the seed that names are going to pop into her head. You've said, we'll see whose names pop into your head. Okay. When asking for referrals, be very specific about what you're looking for, okay? And the first person that you should describe the person that you're talking to, because you're just planting that seed again, okay? So here's what she always says now. Here's what I'm looking for. And then the first demographic I describe is always someone just like the person I'm talking to. This is because I want her to hear again how someone just like her does well in this business. That is like a brilliant psychology move, okay? If I'm talking to a teacher, I say, I really love working with teachers, and Heather, this is so you. I really love working with teachers because they're so good at being coachable and teaching others to do this really simple business. Teachers love making more money because they're underpaid, and they love having the option down the road to spend more time with their own kids rather than other people's kids. Plus, this business is a great insulation from the pink slip. Heather, are you still there? I'm not sure that she is, but y'all, that would totally work. So then she covers the other demographics. So don't narrow it to just that person. Also describe other people that you're looking for. I absolutely love working with stay-at-home moms who need flexibility, but really need an extra stream of income. And it's so possible to do. She always describes the corporate mom that is tied to the hamster wheel. Then because of John's and my success and the success of many on our teams, I add a request for couples who are entrepreneurial and successful and might want to add another business to their kind of diversification. So if there's anybody that just says, I can't really think of anybody at the moment, right at that time, then just say to them, I understand it might be hard for you to think of people right now. Would it be helpful if I sent you a brief email summarizing what we talked about and exactly who I'm looking for? You'll be able to easily forward it to anybody you think of and just copy me on it. Does that sound good? Y'all, I love that script, okay? She says, I've been connected with loads of referrals this way. In the email, I not only briefly summarize what our business is, but I include bulleted list of the demographics I'm looking for. And again, who's the very first bullet? It's that person that she's writing to. So she can be reminded that people just like her are building in our business, okay? So when people offer referrals, make sure to ask a couple of questions about the person they're connecting you to so that you know what their pain points are and you can make that little chart on them as well. All right, the last one, Rule 14, don't end the conversation without talking about becoming your customer. Whatever you do, don't let that person go without segueing to the product. So it's really easy to do that. If you're representing nutritional products like we do, you can just say, if you could have more energy to do things you want to do, would that make a difference in your life? And then you just wait for the answer, okay? So it's just that simple. Okay, so that is the end of, oh, it's not quite the end, okay? So she says that she has never had someone say, no, I'm great, I don't need energy or anything else. So if you're unable to close the sale during that conversation, go back to Rule 8. and set up the next appointment within 24 to 48 hours to get their questions answered and just take their order. Never, I repeat, never let them make their own purchase. Guys, don't send people to your website, especially when your website's not exactly tried and true yet. People will invariably forget or do it wrong. They sometimes end up signed up under the wrong ambassador. And this is the biggest problem with why we don't have people that sign up for the auto ship program. As you know, that's a big problem. So you walk through it with them on the purchase process. And that's just good customer service anyway. And then you just wash, rinse, and repeat. You do these 14 steps over and over. Okay. So we're moving into chapter 6 now. So you have somebody that's interested now. What do you do? It's your job to help your prospect determine whether the business or your products are a good fit for her at this time. And that involves getting people through the funnel quickly. Like I said, that Bob Heilig told me, those follow-up contacts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as quickly as possible. So that is just going to make it efficient, and it's going to move things more quickly. Okay. So everything you say and do should be motivated about helping them come to the right decision for them. Remember, you're not attached to the outcome with any one conversation. If you keep the process simple, you're going to be more confident and you're going to be more efficient. The key to efficient and effective closing practices is for you to keep control of the process, regardless of the type of decision maker that you're talking to, because there's two different kinds. There's the ones that decide quickly, and others like me that always want to do research and ask lots of questions, and one's not any better than the other. But she says that the quick decision makers are more common. So whatever closing tools you use, we talk about third-party tools. You should know what your third-party tools are. If you don't ask your upline to recommend them. But they're designed to help people, regardless of what kind of decision maker, to filter all of the factors that are important to them for decision making, and that way they can make a quicker decision. Okay. So your process should be designed to add the people that make quick decisions and show them how to do the same, and then to help the rest come to a decision that serves them and doesn't slow you down in the process, okay? So don't write off anybody that doesn't make a quick decision, but also don't let them slow down your process. When you're talking to a prospect and you're doing it about what's in it for them, you've shared a brief overview of the company and your products, and you've told your personal story, you're just going to end it by saying, so are you intrigued enough to want to learn more? Or would you like to learn more to see if this might be a good fit for you? So if they say yes, you tell them you're going to be sending them a few things to look over or listen to, and it's up to you about what you send. But remember, rule number 3, that less is more. Do not bury them in information. And even if you're sending a video, Bob Heilig recommends that it should be no longer than 7 to 10 minutes. So I wouldn't send like a recording of an opportunity meeting, because those are usually 20 minutes long. You may want to use that later in the process, but not right now. Okay, so after they have sent this brief video, it might be Tarl and Alec, or it might be a recorded call or whatever it is that you think resonates with them. And so then that's when it's very important to go ahead and get that next conversation ready. If there's an event that you can invite them to in that 24 to 48 hour window, that's ideal, but don't wait for something like that. So if there is one, just say, hey, I'm sure you've got some questions. We've got to get together tomorrow night. It'd be the perfect opportunity for you to, learn more and just see how collaborative this is and figure out if you want to be a part of it. Um, the reason that it's so important to put that time limit on it is that, as I said, if the event's farther away, why wait? Because there are so many things that can go wrong in the process of waiting. But if you can't get them to event, what are you going to do? You can set up a 3-way conference call instead and actually use the upcoming event as a closing carrot for coming in during that conversation. So you could say, if this is a good fit, you should really get started and take advantage because we're having an event next week or we're having convention next month, and that's the perfect way to get your business started and to start getting customers. So remember that we want to move them through the whole process as quickly as possible. The more time they have between touch points, the more likely it is that they'll get cold feet or they're going to talk to somebody who, is going to tell them that MLM is a pyramid scheme and, all of the rest of it. Okay. So moving urgency it's important. Okay. So, after you've, had the conference call, after reviewing everything, I know so you've sent them your stuff, they've reviewed it, and you're going to say to them, after reviewing everything, I know you're going to have some questions. So let's schedule a time to talk so we can get them all answered. I'm going to invite my friend and business partner to join us. She'll give you another perspective, and together we can help figure out if this is a good fit for you. So, whatever arrangement you have with your upline to do 3-way calls, just, do that. But just try to get it done in the first 24 to 48 hours, okay? So, when you're talking with your prospect, if they start asking questions, answer what you can and that you're comfortable with. But remember that your job is to move them to the next step. And the next step is to hop on that call with a business partner or to go to another event. Now, here's the key, and this is so important. Oh, so important. You tell your prospect what the next step is. They don't know anything about this business. They don't know how it works. You're the expert, and you want them to have confidence that you are the expert. So speak with confidence and don't ask them if they want to have a conversation with your business partner. Just tell them that the next step to help her decide, just to decide, is a phone conversation with you and your business partner because she needs to get another team member's perspective, and she'll have questions. And if you remember the difference in doing this, it's going to change the speed of your business. Okay, talking about 3-way calls, and people, when you start out, you're real hesitant to do that, but it's just so important, y'all. So just call them a phone chat or a conversation. And these are the reasons that you should believe in them. They provide a compelling third-party validation. They allow your upline to train you on how to handle objections, or for you to train your downline about handling objections and bringing a prospect to the close. They help to move your prospect through the funnel. And they can, even if you are a super closer and you can do this on your own, the majority of your team members, your downline, can't. And remember, everything that you do is modeling for your downline. So even if you can do it, it doesn't matter. Do the process, okay? Okay, so the logistics of it, if there's been a day or more since your last conversation, confirm with them, remind them about the 3-way call, whether it's a text or an email, and then get your prospect on the phone first, and then add your upline. Now, before you need to prepare your upline. So you need to give them the prospect's name, where they live, how do you know her, what she does currently,